The three stages of retirement. There is number one, the go-go stage. That's where you're young. Right after you retire, man, you are young. You're ready to go out. Do whatever you want to do some traveling. For some people, buy a second house. They're ready to go do stuff. Just go out and go. This is when you mostly have the most energy you're ever going to have. From whenever you retired up to about, say, mid-70s, that's what they call the go-go years. Plenty of energy. Your health is usually pretty good. Now, this guy didn't reach the go-go years. What do you do? Hey, he had fun. He had fun. He had a good time. We'll leave him alone. But that's the time you have the most energy. You know, you're spending the most money. You just had vacation. It just started for you. So you're really ready to just go out and experience everything. So those are the go-go years. Usually like about mid-70s. Some people, depending on their health, could be early 70s. Those are called the slow-go years. Now, a lot of research has shown, like when you get into your 70s, mid-70s, people, obviously, that's why they call it the slow-go, they tend to slow down. They become more content in what they have. It's not about, excuse me, I just retired. I'm going to go do whatever it is I want, whenever I want. It's not that anymore. You've had a chance to do your vacations. You've had a chance to, you know, if you purchase a second house, you got the vacation house, you might rent it out now because you don't use it as much. This is the time also where a lot of people, if they have grandchildren, they tend to be, maybe they want to move closer to the grandkids because research has shown the older you get, the more it is about family. Family becomes more important then. So you're slowing down, your health isn't what it used to be. You know, you can't get around quite as well as you used to. As far as spending money and stuff, you're not going to be taking as many vacations. You're probably definitely not going to be buying another rental house, vacation house, whatever. Your priorities change. You want to be closer to your family, to your grandkids. It makes sense, right? Even if you're not married, if you're a single person, by the time you're like 15 or so years into retirement, you've kind of got your whole thing is down. You know what it is you do in retirement. It's no more experimenting. It's no more, hey, what is this? You're 10, 15, maybe even 20 years if you retired early into this whole retirement thing. You know what it's all about. You know what makes you happy and what doesn't. For a lot of people, it's family. Makes sense, right? It's your family. You want to be closer to your family. So at this stage, a lot of couples, even single people in their 70s that are retired, you know, they want to move closer to their kids, to their grandkids, to help out the kids with the grandkids, stuff like that. So from 70, mid or early 70s to up to about 80, that is called the slow-go period for retiring, for retirement. From about the early 80s, let's say 82, 83, and beyond, those are called the no-go years, where obviously by this time, a lot of people have really slowed down. Could be some health issues, could be some serious health issues, where number one, even if there aren't serious health issues, what kind of energy do you have when you're 85? I mean, are you going to take, you know, a 3-week trip to Europe or something? For most people, maybe not, unless you have family there. Yeah, maybe. But also at this time, it's like people realize, I don't really want to go out that much. I can eat at home. I prefer to be at home. I'm comfortable at home. And at this point also, a lot of them, as we just talked about in the slow-go years, they might have already moved closer to their families. So they're just set. This is where I'm going to be until I pass on. I know, kind of morbid, but when you get to that age, I mean, I remember my mom when she was like in her mid-80s. She knew, she was still very healthy. She was like, my mom up until the year of 80, until she was 87, was only taking a multivitamin and she was still walking 3 miles a day. So yeah, maybe that's way at the end of like, you know, the spectrum there, but still, She knew in her early to mid 80s that house she was in, that's where she was going to be in until she died. Most people in their 80s know that. They're not looking to like, are we going to purchase another house? No. They know what they are and who they are. Okay? So also at that point, with the additional, health issues, if it comes up, you have additional health costs. But as we've talked about in a different video, even though you may acquire additional health costs in your early mid 80s, your overall spending is still continued on a downward stretch. Ever since you retired, it's going down as you get older, even with those increased medical costs, if it happens. Why do you think that is? Because these people in the no-go years, again, they're not going out to eat. They might once in a while, but I mean, most of the meals are going to be at home, right? They're not going to be going out every day for a couple hours, going to the mall or going to whatever it is they're going to go. They're home. They're not totally sedentary, depending on their health, but they're pretty much there, okay? Sure, they might be still getting exercise and everything, but that might be the only time they go out during the day. Everything else might just be there. They're at home. They're not spending much. So, guys, those are the three stages of retirement. The go-go years, which can last for a long time. If you retired early, let's say like 55, those go-go years can last for 20 years, okay? Usually not till the early 70s, mid 70s, those slow-go years start. Slow-go years can last about 10 years. Let's say early 70s to early 80s, 10 years. The no-go years are usually, again, starting in about 82, 83, 84, 85, until you pass on. So it's good to know, going into it, because research has shown these are three phases that it kind of just breaks out to. So for a lot of people, like if you're starting to think about early retirement, well, you're going to have a long period there before you get into the so-called slow-go years, okay? And then an even longer period until you get into the no-go years. So make sure you just have kind of an idea of how those, like in 10-year gaps, let's say, how it's going to play out for you, or at least for most people, so that you can plan accordingly for your early retirement. People that retire at the normal age, let's say you retire at 65, you've still got a good 10 years of going out and do whatever you want to do for most people until you start slowing down, okay? So I just think it's good, at least it was good for me to find out about these different stages so I can kind of plan accordingly, okay? Anyway, that's it for the different stages. Guys, if you like this, please consider subscribing. Like I've said in videos before, we are a community of pre- and post-retired individuals with moderate income. We're just helping each other get through this bad economy. And we're coming up with some pretty good strategies. In the comments I'm seeing going back and forth, but again, make sure you check with a financial advisor before implementing any of that advice that you see, okay? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did like it, please click the like button, and that's it for now. And here's the always feisty off button. Will it work this time? Let's see. Come on, Mike, help me.